Who would have thought we would be 3 weeks in a row? That's a
crazy.
record for the channel.
Wow. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Of course, always when I feel like every time we upload one of these, a like big news piece comes literally the day after. And who wants to take a guess at the biggest gaming related news this week?
Is that the? Go ahead,
You go.
Josh. You make
No,
your
you go.
make your guess. I'm gonna go with that's.
No, just keep going.
This podcast is already off to a great start. Josh,
It's late,
what
okay?
is
It's
it? What
late,
is
I'm
it, Josh?
tired.
What is it?
It's the one where the company bought the other company.
No, Josh. Microsoft bought Activision like 3 weeks
No,
ago.
it's the other one.
What other one? What are you talking
Is there
about?
another one?
You can do it.
I'm
bought the
gaslighting
others?
Josh right now.
I don't know it.
What do you mean you
Forget
don't know
the
it?
names. It's
It's
the
not
one.
Microsoft,
The
who is
one
it?
Sony got the thing.
Sony did get the
Yeah,
thing, Josh.
Sony,
Good job.
Sony bought Bungie.
A game studio.
Bungie,
Wow.
yeah.
So,
Easy
so you
jumping.
guys, I'm making. I should have made you guys watch this right beforehand. I believe I made the prediction 2 weeks ago on the pod at this very place that Sony was going to start responding to Microsoft by making their own little moves. Which apparently this was a little bit bigger of a move than I was expecting. But yes, Sony has bought Bungie for $3.6 billion.
It's a lot of ice cream.
What games does Bungie make?
Destiny.
What are their big games?
Destiny.
That's
Is that it?
They used to make Halo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they created
funny enough.
Halo.
They tried. They
Oh,
tried
yeah,
to get
that's
Halo,
right.
but they realized about like 15 years too late.
Well, then why did they?
I don't know.
Are they worth 3.2 billion?
But Destiny 2 seems to be doing
well,
pretty
they just
good.
went free to play a couple months ago.
Oh,
That's been free to play for a while now.
Yeah.
I remember I got Destiny 2 for free. I
But there's
think
a shit
somewhere
ton of
like,
DLCs though.
I think it's like 3-4 years ago it went
No.
free to play.
I've
No.
never
You
played
want to
it.
bet now? I bet you 3 years
Maybe-
ago. Definitely came
maybe-
out 2019.
Maybe 2 years.
Oh, he's challenging me. 2 years ago was the start of the pandemic. Let's see.
But like,
Let's see. Now I have to fact check myself.
I got the answer.
October of 2019.
Yes, sir. It just feels like time is not real anymore. So 3 years ago feels a lot longer. Like you
That
said,
actually, that is probably closer to 2 years than 3. I concede, Walker. You win. You win.
yay.
Yay! In the most monotone voice.
Walker being awake for about 20 minutes at the time of the recording at 7 p.m.
Don't have to put me on blast like that. Absolutely.
No, I'm
ridiculous.
just giving him a heads up as to why you
Absolutely
sound like you're
ridiculous.
still
Habit
asleep.
shaming you.
Ridiculous.
I am a little bit. So let's talk about this a little bit, though. What do
I
we
mean-
think this means? Does this mean we think that Bungie is going to do something in the
Destiny
near future?
3.
Because I haven't seen anything about Destiny 3. I haven't been able to find any news on if Bungie's doing anything. So for $3.6 billion, that's a lot of ice cream to be
Yeah, but
buying
it's not.
a company that hasn't, made a new game since Destiny 2. Like,
See,
granted,
I
they've
think- I think Josh makes a good point. Like 3.6 does seem like quite a bit. I mean, Destiny has been a bit of a juggernaut over the last like 8 years. The first game was a pretty big boom at the start of like the Xbox One, PS4 generation, and Destiny 2 just seems to always be, like Walker's saying, like coming out with new DLC like on a fairly regular basis. I have my prediction, but I'd love to hear like what people kind of see this as in terms of the next outlook for Bungie.
So,
Yeah. Have
Go
you
ahead,
guys ever
Josh.
played Destiny 2? You guys ever
Yeah.
play it?
mhm.
lot.
Is
Yep.
it a fun game?
Pretty
Yeah.
fun. I enjoyed
I've never
it.
played it. I know, like, there were a ton of kids when I was in high school that would just grind nonstop.
So I'm reading here with Bungie. They're potentially developing a Overwatch / Valorant
No.
type game.
Please.
A new multiplayer action game with a potential hero focus.
I don't want that.
Um,
For the
they're
love of God.
growing their. They're still growing Destiny 2 with 2 major expansions, and they have in this deal with Sony, which is where Sony starts to make their money, is they are partnering to help launch more than 10 live service games. Now, I'm not sure what live service games mean.
I don't know what that means.
It means that they're constantly like messing with it. They're like, it won't go down, like the servers and stuff won't go down, so it's constantly getting updated like daily.
Okay.
Kind of like an MMO. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's live service, so it doesn't go down.
Five.
It doesn't go down.
5 games. That seems way too much.
I thought it was some new genre of game that I was not aware of, and
You said you said live service, right?
live service game.
Yeah. It's like something that's constantly being
Updated and
Yeah.
just like content given, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Like
Bungie's kind
Fortnite.
of been, yeah, they've been one of the biggest developers to kind of I don't know, fulfill that specific need for players who just like are constantly grinding. It's kind of like the evolution of World of Warcraft. You know, like a RPG co-op element that was first person and could just pump out content like there was no tomorrow and constantly giving players their new fix. But this is my prediction. I think they're scared they're losing Call of Duty in the next half decade. I think they want Bungie to make the next Halo-like multiplayer. I mean, and maybe that is what it is going to be kind of shifting into, like Carson's saying, like an Overwatch, Valorant kind of thing. Which, who knows what that'll look like.
Bungie. I mean, Destiny was supposed to be like the big, even though it wasn't like obviously owned by or exclusive to PlayStation or anything. But when they separated from Halo and they made Destiny, it was. I mean, obviously, if you've played the game, you can tell how very similar it feels to a Halo game. So it was supposed to be like a major rival that's not an exclusive to either console. So I think, PlayStation kind of wants it to. I think they're holding that as so if Halo or not Halo, if Call of Duty goes exclusive to Xbox, they're probably gonna turn Destiny also to an exclusive, and try and just beef it out as much as possible. I think that's the major aspect of doing this, is the ability to like be like, hey, if you want COD to go exclusive, well, this will go exclusive too. They're using it as like a negotiation.
Leverage.
Yeah, it's a negotiation tool. Okay.
Do you think exclusive literally to just PlayStation, or you think PC gets any kind of access to...
PC will have it, because Destiny, I'd say that it's the biggest, and I don't know, but it's PC. I think Destiny 2 is probably bigger on the PC than it is on console.
Right.
Yeah, with exclusivity, there's no reason not to like you can. I feel like they would exclude it from a certain console, but there's no reason to like exclude it from PC.
Because
that's just another form of income, and like if a person's gonna like, I feel like what they're really trying to target is like someone who wants to buy a console and play a certain game.
Yeah.
And then that will happen, but I feel like PC is most likely going to be lumped in with whatever if games are even made exclusive, which I don't really think is going to be happen in the near future anytime.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, PlayStation still holds
They still
have awesome
a lot,
games. Yeah. I don't know. This might be kind of the turning point where we start to see that again. When. Oh, go ahead.
God of War is coming or is on PC now, so. It doesn't make sense for PlayStation to be like, hey, here's God of War on PC, but we're taking Destiny away. Like that.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
It seems that PC is just a common ground for both platforms, because like Josh was saying, companies aren't competing necessarily with PC.
Mm-hmm.
They're competing. Xbox is competing with PlayStation 4. They don't see it necessarily as a competition with PC, because I think that they know the advantages. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to sound like PC master race kind of, but PC is more expensive, but it's more, it's better performance. There's a lot more to do on a PC. So I don't think either one of those companies wants to compete in that realm. And I think it would just not be smart for either company to start taking games off of PC because they're still in the process of adding games to PC. It's a slow process, but you can kind of see with PlayStation 4 at least and 5, they've teased games basically that are going to go to PC because you can see on like their cover art, it used to say like exclusively on PlayStation 4 or whatever, PlayStation 5. And now they've removed that. And then when people notice that is removed on, online pictures or whatever of the cover art, within the next few months, there's been a trend of those games coming to PC. That's how they found out that God of War was coming to PC. There was another game as well that was a big PlayStation exclusive that moved to PC because they noticed that tag was taken off of it, and then like 2 months later they announced it was coming to PC. So
yeah, it always kind of seems like an inevitable that it will eventually make it to PC. And I was originally going to say I think it's just because they want that exclusivity at the start of it, but I think it's actually more of a technical standpoint than anything. The fact that they need to make sure that their game that was probably made and intended for their console is now optimized enough to run on a majority of PC hardware and capable enough to give at least a rough experience to what you can get from like the console version of it. There's like really a win-win in their situation where not only do they get like that exclusiveness for their console at the beginning, but then they get a whole nother round of revenue by selling it. I don't know. I mean, somewhere up towards the like 2-3 years later. Like I think it took roughly 2 years for both Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 to eventually make it to PC. So, and Lord knows we all bought it on literally any single device that was capable of running it. I think I literally got the game like on 3 different hardware units. So it's
I think I had it on the 360, Xbox One, and then now PC.
yeah,
Couldn't you
I did
have
the
played the Xbox 360 game on the Xbox One?
No.
No.
I don't
That's
think so.
That's PlayStation.
No,
I think that allowed
PlayStation
that.
doesn't have backwards
Oh wait, no.
compatibility.
Maybe
Xbox has that with certain games.
Okay.
Like Skate 3, you could do that, which was a huge plus. Like Skate 3, you could just like put in your Xbox One.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that was
'cause
amazing.
the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation 4 and 3 don't have that capability. They don't have
is
forwards
super weird.
capability. They have, I think, back. I don't know.
No. Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't be able to run the games.
Huh. Oh man. Well, what's next? What is Sony going to purchase after this? I mean, I feel like anything's kind of on the table now when you get an acquisition like this. I mean, 3.6 billion to throw at a developer who's really only worked on one thing over the last like 7-8 years. I mean, that definitely opens kind of the floodgate to like all sorts of other acquisitions, including there was actually a article of it was really weird. I found it kind of odd. It was like a matchup of all these like random developers from all sorts of companies kind of joining together to like make this new I think it's like an indie developer now. I'm actually trying to find my article for it. But what was weird about the article was that there wasn't really much in regards to like what they were going to be working on or what even like their intention was for kind of like what they're going to be moving into, which I think is just kind of an interesting kind of news piece just to give out, given all the, I think, backlash with companies kind of releasing like previews of games and stuff, and then they are just nowhere near expectation to like what gamers were hoping for. I don't know if I showed you guys this article. It was the developer Reveal Gardens, an ex-Skyrim, Journey, and Spider-Man team of developers. So I guess my question for you guys is like kind of like with Bungie, what's the new game? Like what's everyone wanting now. I mean, Walker was saying no Skyrim or not Skyrim, Overwatch, Valorant multiplayer. Like, what are people hungry for nowadays?
Uh,
Well, I think a big thing is people do really, really like the Valorant sort of genre. Like, I know a lot of people. I mean, one of my good friends, actually a girl,
Girl?
a real girl.
Excuse me? What?
She got into PC gaming, and all she's been playing is Valorant. And I feel like a lot of new people that are coming to PC, especially now, are playing like games like that, like Valorant. And that's like just what I've noticed, like on like sort of mainstream in parentheses, like on TikTok. Like you'll go on there, and I'll just see like pretty much anybody who's like trying to be like a cool PC gamer is like, oh yeah, I play Valorant. Oh yeah, I do all this. But I think people want like a game. I know people really want like a COD that's not bad. People want like a legit good FPS that's multiplayer that you can just be like content with.
You have
That's
it,
not
Josh.
like
It's
Halo.
called Halo. No, it's called Halo. Best
No.
best
No, they
multiplayer.
want-
I'm
out
talking
there.
about
Like a
like fast
COD.
paced.
They want a
like
COD. They
people
want
really
another
want like
COD.
a good COD.
no Warzone, because they want them to focus on the multiplayer. I enjoyed
Yeah.
the multiplayer of Modern Warfare, like the
Mhm.
2019 Modern Warfare. I thought it was good. Most people played Warzone, and most people didn't like the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer was fine, but with this new one, the multiplayer is and Josh, I don't know if you can back because you're the one who play it, but I hear that the multiplayer, the I guess Warzone or whatever it's called, is awful. The non-Warzone stuff is awful, and even the Warzone stuff is like filled with bugs and cheaters. So they want something that's focused on multiplayer, focused on like the older Call of Duties. That they don't
Yeah.
try and branch out to do this like battle royale.
So I
No,
think at the
Go ahead, Josh.
beginning of when it released, the multiplayer, I didn't like it wasn't that fun at all. Like I played it a bit, but I didn't play it as much as I'm playing it now actually. Like this week. I feel like I'm on a different game every week, but this week I've been just grinding COD. But I actually think it's super fun now. But then what happens is people always like whenever a new COD comes out, people will complain about it for the entire time it's out, and then the next one will come out. And then people will look back at the game before that they talked shit about like the whole year, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I missed that. That was really good." Like that's what happened with Cold War. Like everyone now, like I was like going through some like COD YouTubers and stuff, and now everyone's like, "Oh, I miss Cold War so much. It was such a good game." Like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, like everyone was saying, and even some of these creators I knew like when it came out, like they were all saying that it was complete shit. And so it's like I don't really know what like the thing is anymore because like I enjoy it, but certain people like certainly have elements that they hate, but then they come to enjoy after. I don't really know. It's kind of confusing.
It's so the what I don't want to go too deep, but it's the whole like EA Sports games is that each year they become progressively or they regress, they become worse and worse after each year.
Yeah.
And so you realize that the games that were a couple years ago that you hated, because to be fair, 10 years ago those games were better than games 5 years ago, but the new ones are worse than the games 5 years ago. So it's like, man, those games were not good, but they were better than this. Also, to go back on the whole like people getting into PC gaming, Valorant and Overwatch, because they're too stylistically similar. Those are in the world, comparing it to Counter-Strike, they are attractive games. They aren't, Counter-Strike is not realistic, but it doesn't look cartoonish or it just doesn't attract people to play the game, where there's not like cool abilities and fun, like looking, everything looks like cool and stuff. Like, cause
They
you can
don't look
play
like
Valorant.
Fortnite players that can like dance.
Yeah,
and do
there's
the Carlton.
nothing, there's no attractiveness to it. If you want to play like a real down to earth FPS, you play on PC, you play Counter-Strike. But if you don't care about that, if you want fun skins and cool emotes and stuff like that, you go and play Overwatch, you go and play Valorant. That's like the biggest thing. And I don't think that people are going, so now because Counter-Strike didn't have a competitor. Valorant, it's competing, I'll give it that. It's not doing a great job, but it's competing. And that, I think Valorant and Counter-Strike, the market for like a FPS style, like that kind of game on PC, it's cornered. There's no way else you can get in. There's no shot.
Well, I mean, if Bungie, let's say Bungie is the developer that is going to be trying to make a game similar to that, do you think it's going to be pushed more towards like the Valorant style, or is it going to be Counter-Strike?
It's going to be neither. It's going to be Halo. It's going to directly compete against Halo. Like I said, nobody can compete with that now, because Counter-Strike never had an opponent. And I understand, more competition. There is no way you can get in because Valorant, and I don't want to say it flopped, and I don't want to say it, but it's not. It's like I said, it's not really a massive competitor. I was doing this the other day. 100,000 viewers in a group stages match for both for Counter-Strike, and it was like 40,000.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last pod.
Exactly. It's not there yet. It could still grow more, but it's not actually competing. But it's enough to corner it, and no one else is going to try and get in because it clearly didn't work.
Go ahead, Carson.
I think this is a trend. I think we need to have this in every episode of the podcast. It's just a segment of Walker.
It's not. This is not hating on Valorant. I am stating facts. This
just talking
factual.
About them too. I'm just saying.
We're going to start with Walker's rant on his hate for Valorant.
This is
and
no.
the dominance
I'm being
of CS:GO.
No. I know. I'm not even. I didn't.
Open right now.
I'm just saying it's
with you.
The Walker Counter-Strike versus Valorant saga every episode. But real quick, I wanted to get back to your initial question, which we've stemmed off of, which was what are people looking for? What are gamers hungry for right now? And one thing that I'm excited about is that I've noticed a significant uptick in survival realistic type games.
Our bread and butter.
Exactly. Like not, DayZ is DayZ and games like that. But when you look at Tarkov's popularity, Escape from Tarkov, this is a game that came out, 5 years ago, maybe, still in early access. It's just constantly developing. But the popularity it has gained in the last 12 to 24 months, maybe, has been insane. It went from having 10K total viewers on Twitch to having the top 5 streamers all having 20K plus at a time, or 15K. So I can't even estimate the amount that has grown as far as viewership and active player count. And so I'm excited for that. And then you have, we've talked about potentially getting into playing Ready or Not. And that's a game I'm excited to play because, again, it's realism. It's not a survival game, but it's a realism game. And it's considered probably a simulator. But it's games like that I think are growing in popularity. And that is exciting to me because I think people want more of it. I think, I don't know if the Arma series is going to create an Arma 4. They haven't talked about that or anything. But I think Arma 3 is probably going to grow. But the games in that survival/realism genre are going to be growing significantly. I think that's what people are looking for.
A lot of those that you described too are multiplayer, but it's not just multiplayer too. Like you're kind of seeing that aspect in the single player realm as well. Like just now, this week, Dying Light 2 came out, and I mean, I just heard nothing but praise for the first one, and I think so far it sounds like they've really hit it off for the second one as well. And you kind of see that kind of like survival aspect element in other single player genres as well. I mean, horror just always seems to come out with some game that is like a must play for people. And then, other notable multiplayers, Rust. I mean, that game's also, I think 7-8 years old now. And that thing is still like pumping out content like Destiny. I mean, I just saw like they have like an Arctic update or something like that, and I haven't played in a few years, but man, every time I see a video, I'm like, oh God, I gotta get back on.
It feels like there's a rebirth. It feels like there's a rebirth of that genre. I feel like games, when it was almost like DayZ standalone, right? When DayZ standalone came out, it was as if it was like the worst time for that game to come out. Seemed like people who played that, and maybe that was because of the poor development of the game, but it seemed like that, and then Rust came out at a similar time.
Mhm.
Those games didn't thrive like they are now, and I think people are going back to them now because that's what they want to play. I think maybe it was a development issue. Maybe it was when those games first came out, they were underdeveloped. Maybe they were pushed out too early, whatever it may be. I think people liked the concept of it, but the execution wasn't there. And now that the games have had time to develop and they've cleaned up their execution of the game, it's seeing a rebirth of that genre. Game again, like I said, Tarkov is helping in that, and you see co-op games like Ready or Not. Just what was the parkour one you were talking about? Dying Light.
Dying Light.
Yeah, so survival games and realism games, I think, and I noticed even with Arma, like I was talking about real briefly, Arma 3 has seen a reemergence of its popularity, which is a game that's always had a pretty steady population, but it seems that it's a very dedicated niche population, but it feels like it's growing, and you see it around a little bit more. So I don't know. I think that's kind of what people are hungry for right now, because the market's flooded with FPS and Halo types and Call of Duty types and Apex Legends or Fortnite like types. Everyone jumped on those trains and all at once, and it was just like we couldn't get enough of those games. And
the battle royale, like that, just like I feel like I know for me, like battle royale has definitely just like been worn out. I mean, maybe a little bit of resurgence with like PUBG has come out for people. Like I know did you play more of that this week, Josh?
I was actually gonna play tonight, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to.
I was playing some last night.
Yeah, but dude, whenever the battle royales first came out, I thought it was kind of fun. But I was never a person who got really like super into them. Because after I think like we played second season of Fortnite or whatever, not like second season, but like forget what they called it. It was like after it first came out. Second chapter or whatever. We played a ton, and then after that I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with these battle royales. And then all of a sudden, everything is just battle royale, battle royale, battle royale, battle royale. And I'm like,
you're like Call of Duty, nope,
I don't know about that.
And every game that wasn't a battle royale had to figure out a way to add battle royale in.
Yeah, like COD.
And
they actually became successful with Warzone. So
yeah, but what game didn't do that? Halo.
Infinite.
You're right.
I think actually Carson's not wrong with his like survival and realism or whatever he's talking about.
Waiting for the butt.
But I think it's open world. I think that's the biggest aspect that people want.
Because, like Sonic.
Sure. Breath of the Wild. That like people want another Legend of Zelda game like that. They want more. They want Breath of the Wild 2 basically. It's open world. Everyone wants open world. It just happens to align that they are these survival and realism and horror games that are. But I think it's open world. I think that's the new wave, if you will. This is the battle royale part 2. It's the open world. That's what everyone wants. That's what everyone's playing. Like the Final Fantasy's open world.
That's true. Have you been playing more of that, Josh?
I hopped on for a bit this week, not too much. But a thing with the MMORPGs is like I think people are definitely looking for something new to go to. And I know that there's some projects coming out now or that had just come out, but I think people really want just like a new, fresh MMORPG, like that revolutionizes the way they work. But I don't know if any company is going to be like confident enough to do that, because if they don't follow the formula of an MMORPG, then like of a normal one, like World of Warcraft or something, then they could just flop and then not make any money. So a lot of companies in that realm are kind of scared to like branch out and like make a cool new innovative MMO. And it kind of sucks, but
well, you're all right. You're all correct. Like it is going to be open world. It's going to be survivalistic. It's going to be massive multiplayer, and it is Star Citizen, people. Everyone is going to be playing Star Citizen. They're going to have their probably Facebook dealed Oculus strapped onto their face, and that's all we're gonna be playing is Second Life and one giant universe where we can kill each other and then revive and come back as like
Kill
a
each other
peasant
again.
space worker. Exactly.
No,
although
I know what it is. It's the metaverse.
I don't
well,
think
maybe
they're
not.
releasing
Maybe
the game
not,
is.
because Facebook, I think they're gonna have to hold off on their whole metaverse reality for at least another few years, because they had a ridiculous drop in stock just yesterday, actually.
Didn't it literally set a new record for?
I think
like,
Facebook-wise, it did.
I think Josh is right. At least through this article, stock market history. $232 billion in a single day, the biggest one-day drop in value in the history of the U.S. stock market, which apparently they attribute a decent amount of it to Apple of all people.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to find if there's like a specific.
I've got it here. It's
ahead.
talking about Apple's privacy changes. So they're complaining essentially and blaming this, and the reason of the stock price to kind of tie it all in. So the creation of the stock price drop is mostly because of their quarter earnings. So they released earnings, which was the first time that they've released earnings under the new name, so under the parent company Meta, right? So they missed their earnings estimate for the fourth quarter of 2021 by about 0.2 million, so about $200,000 really, and then which was their earnings estimate, and then they also beat their revenue for that quarter by about 300,000. So it wasn't really that huge of a miss. And then this caused people, and I think it was an overreaction by investors. So
shocker.
I think it was they created all this hype behind Meta and the metaverse, and everything's going to be great, and we're going to make so much money. So investors started hopping on board. People started buying in, and they missed their earnings estimate in the first quarter, as Meta, and then of course as the market does. Everyone overreacted. I think it's going to balance out, probably not super fast, but I think it's going to balance out. I think Meta is going to be fine. Facebook's going to be fine. And yes, they attributed this miss of their earnings to Apple's iPhone privacy changes, which they said impacts its ad targeting and measuring. So their ability to target people through their use of their phone. Basically, Apple said, hey, we're not going to have you guys stalk our customers through what they do on their phone.
You can't figure out if Walker likes the anime girl with blue hair or red hair more.
Exactly.
Walker gets to decide on his own.
Who's the best waifu?
This created such a big hit because they came out with a statement and said that this change could impact the company and have them lose about $10 billion in revenue. At least according to their initial estimates, they feel like this privacy change is going to cost them about $10 billion in revenue. So, like I said, I think it's an over.
I mean, that's chump change for them, right? I mean, they're like probably worth somewhere around $1 trillion, are they not?
Yeah. I mean, the cap hit, right? So they lost their 26%, and their market cap dropped about $230 billion. And you're like, wow, that's a lot. Well, they're still worth over $500 billion in market cap. So after losing $230 billion in market cap, they're still at about $660 billion. So I think it's
time
not
to
going to
invest. Josh, go invest right now. Use your Robinhood app.
I only use Coinbase. I'm only a crypto investor.
Oh, one of those guys.
I've only lost $700.
How's our TKT NFTs going, by the way? Are those on the market yet? Have we sold those
We're
yet?
still working with them. We're still working with the
Okay.
the company. Yeah.
We're
I
getting
made
the
one
bidding
of
war
my
ready.
dick.
Oh,
What?
Keep going.
Oh.
What? Huh?
no, I think we're good there. I think yeah. I think that's
So I watched The Social Dilemma, which was kind of weird on Netflix like a year ago, and I feel like I've been very off social media ever since then. I feel like Facebook's kind of dying in regards to the social media platform for the majority of people, at least in the younger generations. Because I'm way older than you folk. I was wondering what is like the social media platform to go on to now. Like for me in college, it was like at least communication wise, it felt very much like Snapchat with like a little bit of Facebook and Instagram. Which ironically enough is
Is
owned by Facebook.
yeah.
But like what is next? Like is Instagram going to be kind of like the new juggernaut when it comes to social media, or is it going to kind of bleed into maybe something that's not necessarily that kind of like media upload base, but is something more of like a messenger, kind of like TikTok or Snapchat?
I'd say
I
I'd say it's definitely Twitter.
Yeah.
1000%.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's Twitter.
Oh no.
Twitter is the platform that every kid and their mom, not moms, but every kid is using to rant and cancel people and just ruin each other's lives.
I think yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
So I think it's going to be a mix. I don't think we're going to see juggernaut. I think every platform has its own uh, content. So Instagram, right? You're sharing with usually it's family and friends, and it's obviously similar to Facebook. It's owned by Facebook. Um, I think it's going to take over what Facebook was. I think Facebook is becoming more of a marketplace. Obviously, they have Facebook Marketplace, but I think it's going to become more focused on Facebook Marketplace, and I think it's going to be um, more of an advertising realm for
Mm.
companies. And then I think Twitter is going to be for news and people that want to put their opinions out there. That's going to be kind of your forum space. And then, and like I said, Instagram is just, hey, this is what's going on. Look at my perfect life. Here's my Instagram. Look at all these pretty pictures. And then, I think it's just kind of a mix of everything. If you ask anybody, everyone has everything. Snapchat is more of your messaging platform with individuals. Um, Obviously, TikTok is what Vine was, but I think it's a mix of everything, and there's influencers on every site. But I think each site has their own kind of feel to it, and I don't think we're going to look at a kind of a monopoly of one being the greatest social media platform of them all. I think popularity wise, Twitter might be. I think Josh was right about that, and Walker agreed with him. But I think it's just going to be a blend of everything because it's so easy to access everything all at the same time. I don't see one of those media platforms overtaking everything else.
Till
But
Meta buys them all, and then it basically is kind of one entity, just separate in different apps. Which, yeah, I think that's a pretty good recap on all of that, Carson. I like your point. What were you gonna say, Josh?
No.
Oh, it was
Twitter.
Walker.
Twitter is. I mean, you're right that they all. I mean, they all have their own different ways that you use them. I think Twitter though is the most interactive between people because everyone has. If you have any social media, whether it's a TikTok or your Instagram or YouTube, you always have Twitter. You always have Twitter. You always
Not
have
me. I'm a
well,
differenter.
okay, but you're not influencer yet.
Not
You're
yet.
high tier enough. But everyone has. If you have one of the things, right? Like you're a big YouTuber, you go to Twitter, and then you use one platform mainly, and it's not Twitter, but Twitter's in your backup platform effectively, because you'll have your main channel wherever it is, and then Twitter is what you use to promote that. I think Twitter's the biggest one in terms of promoting yourself and being able to interact with people.
till you're
The other
canceled,
ones,
which
yeah.
we're gonna be canceled due to Josh's dick pic NFT.
Dick and
I hope-
No,
I hope we're
it's
canceled.
it's legal. Okay, we're not gonna get canceled.
It's 8-bit for it's 8-bit.
Make like
Oh,
1.2 mil and run. Okay.
Yeah, it's 8-bit, so it's all
Who
right.
cares if you get canceled
Actually,
if you make a shit?
Josh
load
is
of
too
money
much.
off it?
He's too much of a long john. He had to go 32-bit.
What I do
Uh,
want to say about Twitter though is the other day, like, so this basically explains Twitter. The other day I went on, and the first thing I see is someone who I used to go to high school with telling people why they shouldn't get vaccinated and spreading false information about the vaccine and how it kills people.
Exactly.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
And that's that's like how Twitter is. Like whenever I go on Twitter and like see something, I usually just get mad or sad.
God,
Yeah.
why do you go
So
on there? That
here's-
sounds
here's-
awful.
I don't go on Twitter. I like rarely go on Twitter.
That's what I'm saying. Twitter forces you off of it. Twitter kicks you off. You scroll through Twitter for too long, and you
Yeah, but
find
you go
something. You're like,
back.
why am I here?
You're
You go
either
That's
one
what
or
it
the
means.
other.
Wherever the most shit posting is clearly with the most popular platform. That's just
Yeah.
factual.
Surprised
You're
Reddit never
either-
got brought up here.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Reddit's
Reddit's kind of like
Reddit's
like
just an underneath.
back-
Reddit's a
backdoor.
forum-based one. Yeah, it's where the cool kid hang out. You know, you gotta get
That's-
you gotta get a
that's where I
password.
hang
to
No,
get in.
I don't know about cool kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
iFunny
your
is where the cool
backdoor.
kids go.
Okay.
I funny.
Oh fuck!
You
Oh,
can't be
fuck.
you can't be bringing up
The giant.
Not
That's
be
the
talking
forbidden.
about
The
that.
juggernaut,
Rule
the one
That's
that'll
rule
rule 'em
one,
all.
Bro, that's rule 1.
The app of which we do not speak.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing.
Come on,
Shit,
you broke.
man.
Fight Club.
Yeah, I of all people should know that. Yikes.
Yeah, everyone knows that iFunny is gonna be the next mega social media platform that everyone has.
It's the sleeper cell. It's what is on
Yeah.
everyone's phone and they don't
No,
realize it.
It's the fucking mates, red pill, blue pill shit. iFunny's Morpheus.
Speaking of which, if you did take the red pill, you would be finally entering into your VR reality of GTA 6, which Rockstar just confirmed is in production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not too surprising, but it's exciting that they finally announced it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's that they announced the production of it, because I think
Yeah,
everyone knew that it was going to happen, but it was just the fact that now Skyrim, what is it, 6, I think.
Mhm.
That's been, I think, in production for God knows how many years.
I mean, they
Like, literal
announced
production.
it.
No, not even just an announcement, like an actual like, hey, this is being. They literally released a teaser trailer like 4 years ago.
Right.
Like,
4
that's-
years. Almost
that is
5
like-
actually.
That is a hey, this game is about to come out, and 5 years later, there's still no
Yeah.
Still
And
no
I-
Skyrim.
And I think GTA and Rockstar is handling it well, and I liked what they said. I don't know if you guys read anything into it, but what I really liked about Rockstar is they aren't, they're not trying to just milk money out of their franchise, right? If they were trying to do that, they'd release a game every year. Wink, wink to another company. But GTA, the Rockstar came out and they had a statement when they're like, this has been highly anticipated. Everyone's been asking us about the next entry into the Grand Theft Auto series. But with every new product we embark on, our goal is to always significantly improve and move beyond what we have previously delivered. So I like that because they're saying, hey, we need to make sure that if we're going to do this, it has to be better than what's out there, than what we've done. And I think that's a great way for a game development company a developer to go about things. They point out that, yeah, we know that this has been anticipated, but we wanted to make sure that we could actually do it better before we even said that we would. So I think I'm excited for it. Obviously, we have no idea how long this could be.
It's already past due if you compare it to the other installments. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
think it was only a 5-year gap between GTA 4 and GTA 5, and we're like running on what, year 8 now?
But they weren't releasing content constantly like
Yeah,
they were
I was
for
gonna
GTA
say,
5.
That's true.
GTA 5, unlike because I compared it to Skyrim or like the idea. They have the last year alone in 2021 they released well at least in the last 6 months of the year, or maybe it was June, but they released two separate like things. They released like a new two new like whole new like side projects, if you will, of the game. One of which included a major storyline. So I think that they're, unlike Skyrim, they do a great job, even though it's coming up on 9 years since the game's released. There isn't a lack of content. And not only is there not a lack of content, there is no price tag. I have paid $60 for the game, and I have done everything in the game that you can do.
I feel like it's more popular than ever too. I mean, like the Twitch fandom right now with like the roleplay servers, like NoPixel, like
Yeah.
it
yeah.
is just that in itself just releases so much content and great promotion for going back and playing the game. So like
actually, I was gonna mention that earlier when we were talking about like what game types people want. I think a lot more people, because of Twitch and like just because of that stuff, I think a lot of people are just getting into like those roleplay games, like where you legit have to like be a character and like act like in voice chat about it. I think people think that's a really fun idea. I'm not sure how like successful a game would be if they like just focused on that solely, but I know a lot of people like have been going on. Like I even have friends who like weren't even into games at all before, that are like asking me because they don't have a PC. They're like, "Oh, have you done like GTA RP or anything?" I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't."
Like Master Race Boy, teach us your ways.
Yeah, and then another one of my friends who just recently got like a super nice laptop. He started actually playing GTA RP. He said it's super fun, and he's the last kid I would expect to ever play that. But
I might get some dirty
cool.
looks by bringing this up, but kind of to go on top of that, I feel like the generation kind of under us is going to be growing up with that kind of social connectivity through games like Roblox, where I think you do have like that very like connected multiplayer aspect to basically have a virtual world to socialize with. I mean, I think that's like what Meta is trying to get their grimy little fingers on, is our like basically our little playgrounds for kids virtually. Yeah, I think that's kind of a great point as well to the kind of game people want.
Yeah,
man,
I had a question actually for everyone. If like, what is the game that you are the most hyped for that is going to be coming out within the next like 10 years?
10
So
years?
could include
10
like
years.
Well, like
I
yeah,
mean-
like so games that like won't be out for a while, but you're still like super hyped about it, like
Okay, so
Cyberpunk.
games-
Like so
Cyberpunk.
basically like
Oh, wait a
like
minute.
you know how like Cyberpunk was, how they announced
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah.
So basically any game like that, like
So games that
like
aren't
GTA,
actually out yet, but are
but are
probability,
gonna be
or
super
most
hyped
likely,
up.
guarantee.
I
Okay,
think
so-
for me,
Yeah.
it's definitely 1000% Skate 4. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I cannot wait
not
till that
expecting
comes out.
No,
Skate 4 is gonna be. I hope it's gonna be amazing.
as much
I'm
as
so
I
excited.
do enjoy a good Skate 4. I actually asked one of my friends recently because if he knew when it was coming out, because he usually knows that stuff. But I don't know. I don't think they have announced the release date yet.
No.
I wouldn't
They have-
say of all the options, I wouldn't put that one at the top of my list.
For
No.
me, it's just Skate 3. I put so many hours in that game, and I just used to love skating so much.
Yeah,
so that's
I
why
mean,
it's mine.
It's great, but
I agree as well. I don't think Skate 4 would be my number one. I'm extremely hyped for it. I don't think it's going to be anything groundbreaking. No,
Don't do this
Well,
to
what's your
Josh.
game?
It is his game. He is
No, I'm-
excited. What's everyone else's?
That's
Skate
what I was
4 Battle
getting into.
Royale, Skate 4
That's what I was
Battle
getting
Royale.
into is
Dude,
I
You
don't
ever run
think-
around. Wait. You ever just run around and smack people with your skateboard until they get
That's
pissed
all I
at
do.
you and
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
tase
Wait,
you?
Yeah.
there's other things other than doing that? I didn't know this.
Right. No, I just don't think. No, I think Skate 4 is going to be amazing. I think I'm going to love it, and I'm going to put way too many hours into it. I just, it's
Stop slamming his game. You just give us your game.
wow. Okay,
Come on.
I was. Jeez.
You are just
So-
absolutely
You're
belittling
bullying
it.
me. I'm
Oh,
crying.
oh my god! I was giving my reason as to why it wasn't, because it's up there. It's up there for me. It's just not. I was
Just
going to say
give us
why it
your
wasn't.
game.
So what is up there?
So up there is, and I'm gonna get some guff for this probably, but
no.
the full release of Escape from Tarkov.
I was gonna say that actually.
Because
It's
the game
gonna
is already
take
fully
10
released,
years.
bro.
The game is not fully released.
Yes, it
There's
is. It's like
the
DayZ.
game is
It's
not.
been fully
no,
released.
no,
They
no,
just
no.
suck ass.
Wait, Carson. Do you think they're gonna shut down all of the servers and then have like a gap where you can't play it and then
Yes.
fully release the game?
Yes.
That's what they're gonna do.
Because the final game, the full game, at least what they've been talking about, is very different than the way it's set up now. You guys have all played a little bit of it at least, and you understand you have the raid system, right? So you go into a raid, you finish the raid by going to an exit point, you go back to your stash, and you can just do all that stuff in there, and then you click to join another raid. Well, the full version of the game is going to be an open world. Everything's connected. To visit the traders, you actually have to walk and like physically go to the traders. And they have so much in development that is going to completely change the game. And I'm interested to see what happens though, because I do fear that it's going to push some of the people away from it. I think it's definitely going to be like a realism survival even more than it already is. I think there's going to be I think there's going to be some things that people aren't a fan of. I think it's going to slow down the pace of certain things. Again, obviously, if you're going to a trader and you have to physically go to a location to go to a trader, I think it's going to slow things down. And I think maybe some people will be pushed away, but I think the target audience that Tarkov and Battlestate Games has for Tarkov will be like me and is very excited to see a game like that. I don't know. I'm just very excited for the game to be in its full final state rather than where it is now. And I love it where it is now. I just think that putting it into its final state is going to be a big change and something I'm really excited for.
Well, okay, wait. So what happens to the safe house?
It's a physical location.
Right. So I think, I'm not gonna lie, and you've played this game.
He's not gonna lie. He's not gonna do it.
Wouldn't this just be the Division?
No.
Oh,
no.
You go into the dead zone and you have to fuck it. I mean.
No.
Yeah,
It's
no. Yeah, it is. It would be the same idea. It would be the same idea.
I mean, that's kind of
where everything is like you're never safe.
It's not a bad thing necessarily.
No. I'm just saying that the game, it's not really taking a new, unseen direction, but
I think it will be different in that it is more
sure.
it's way more realistic. I mean, that was the biggest turnoff for me with the Division, was I was expecting it to be kind of like a Ready or Not, DayZ, Tarkov like tactical shooter, which it was really more of just like your like sponge RPG like fighting tactics. Like you just like you just shot like 80 rounds into like an enemy, and maybe they were half health based on their. What?
If you're talking direct PvP, it's also not that spongy.
But it's still like not.
It's not like a
point where
tactical.
it's
It's
like
not
a
a real
Tarkov.
tactic. No,
right?
But it definitely has like. I mean, I mean, I don't know how you. I mean, from the trailers and stuff, you could tell it wasn't like a true, like PvP realistic.
But that is what I want. Is like I kind of want that to be where Tarkov. And I think Tarkov does. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Carson, or anyone else who has information on this, but I feel like Tarkov is trying to be a little bit more ambitious, where it is a little bit more of the dark zone of the Division, but like the entire thing is the dark zone.
Yeah.
So
it's not just that one section.
They just want to make the game in hyper realism. Hyper realism is what I want to say, because they want to make it as realistic as they can, down to the point where when they have these traders that you have to go and visit, right? Some days you'll show up to the trader and they won't be there. There'll be a note on the door that says out on an errand or whatever, and they just won't be available. There'll be times where there'll be I don't think that would be. But I think they did say there would be times where maybe their shop got raided, and so. Prices are higher because they don't have as much supply now, or they're sick and they can't sell you shit, so they're gonna be gone for the next 3 days or whatever. So I think it's really interesting, and I don't even know where it's gonna go. They most of it is just concept at this point. the head developer Nikita has been talking about
MIA.
a bunch of different things um, as to where the game could go and where he wants it to go. And what I really like is he basically, he works with the community, right? So he understands what they're going for, but he also doesn't compromise the vision that they have for their game, right? People want an arcade mode where you can just go in and fight things and come out or whatever, right? They said that's not what our game is. We're not gonna be an arcade shooter. We're not gonna be an arena shooter. And that was something that some people pushed, and he's just, no, that's not what I'm doing.
I feel like it's definitely going to be quite the upscale. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the system now is pretty good, but to shift it to to this final vision of massive multiplayer and kind of a bit more open world without a time limit, or at least not as strict of a time limit. That I think that's a good answer for this question. Like, I think it will take about a decade for it to finally get there. When it does, I'm pretty excited for it as well.
Okay, so
well-
Walker or Chris, you have an answer?
Yeah, Walker, go for it.
Well, seeing as I've stated multiple times that I would pay quite a handful of money to play GTA 5, I guess I'd have to say GTA 6.
Speaking on
just-
that, I think
Yeah.
we need to make our guesses as to where it's going to be. I feel like we need like a 3, 2, 1 countdown for this. All right.
What do you mean, like what
Look,
year?
look,
where
what
location
for GTA 6?
I've
Three,
got a few.
2,
Got
1.
Hawaii.
San Andreas.
Miami.
Amsterdam.
Ooh,
Oh,
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
I didn't
Everything's
mean San
legal
Andreas,
there.
I meant Los Santos.
so you think you're gonna keep it there?
I think they might expand on the 5 story.
Oh,
Some
interesting.
capacity. But there's also the idea that I don't know how I don't remember a couple years ago that people were like,
yeah.
"Yo, it's going to take place across the entire, like not across the entire
Ah.
U.S., but like various
Right.
points. So like Miami, New York. So like it'll connect all the so like Los
All, like, the
Santos,
3
Vice
main
City, and yeah, the main.
We have
the main,
not.
like,
We haven't
and
had
then
a
one
Vice City
additional.
in like Vice City has not been in a game installment in like 20 years or something like that, or whenever GTA 3 came out.
Vice
so-
City, Liberty City.
I think it
Los
goes back there.
Santos.
What was your guess, Carson?
What did I say? Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii would be fun. I don't have any basis behind that guess. I just thought it would be fun to have a GTA.
Yeah, same thing with Amsterdam. I think anywhere in Europe could be
Amsterdam.
really cool, like a cool setting for a GTA.
Yeah, but
true.
Europe's so boring in real life.
Then you just get stabbed a bunch. You get-
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what if you-
You get pickpocketed.
Oh, I
You
just
get
had the
stabbed.
best idea. Dude,
Oi,
what if you're,
oi,
what if you're in
mate,
like
oi.
London? What if you're in London and
That was
and
Australian.
You gotta like be in like a moped gang. And you gotta like snatch people's phones on like the sidewalk. And you're like running.
Yeah,
oh,
bro.
that would be sick,
fucking,
dude.
they should make a yeah, dude. Yeah, I know. Europe is so fucking boring.
You wouldn't be
Tingles
allowed to have
crime.
guns, bro. Bro,
Crime-wise,
you wouldn't be
it's
allowed to
just
have
boring.
guns.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd
And
steal people's bikes, and that'd be like a hypercar.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
upgrade
that would
from
be
you.
so
Cyberpunk.
fun.
Your starting vehicle is roller skates.
All right, Chris,
Oh,
you need to
man.
say your game.
Wait, where did
so
Chris? Hold on. Where did you say that your
Yeah.
guess was?
I think it's going back to Vice City in Miami.
Ooh, yeah.
I think
They're not original enough. They just keep ping
because
ponging between the three.
Los Santos was like, or San Andreas is in Los Santos, so they.
Correct.
go
Yeah, you can
anywhere.
actually. Isn't one of the missions is you go back to the original cul-de-sac of
Yeah.
San Andreas and
Yeah. I mean, it's just in
pick
the.
up-
You can go whenever you want.
Speaking of which, I watched a Nakey Jakey video. I can't remember what the specific topic was, but he was talking about it was cheat codes in games. I don't know,
I've got a
Carson
book.
Walker, you might be too young to remember the San Andreas cheat
I
code
know
where you
the-
basically super powered your bike and you could fly like on top of buildings just by like the typical jump, but now you're going literally like skyscrapers high.
Yeah, I we have a book that's just like all the cheat codes for the old games. It's probably in there somewhere. But I used to do it all the time in the GTA 5 on the Xbox 360.
You could do that on
Super-
GTA 5 too.
Yeah,
oh
super,
man.
like you could get super punch, and you would just like an explosive punch, and so you could just hit
Oh,
people,
yeah.
and they'd blow back like 40, 50 yards.
Dude, I remember just playing GTA 4, like at your guys' house, and we'd like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. I have a lot of good memories from GTA 4 just from you guys, like going over to Carson Walker's house.
All
That's why
right,
you're
that
still
was so
friends
fun.
today.
Christopher.
My game,
Your
you know, this game has gotten a lot of flack, and I don't even think it'll be made in the next 10 years, but I am very much looking forward to Star Citizen and kind of seeing where that
yeah.
game eventually ends up, because I've
Yeah.
seen YouTube videos of people playing it in VR using like ridiculous, almost like flight simulator setups. It is probably the most ambitious game out there right now.
Did you know
And
I'm a Star Citizen guy?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, dude. I
How
have-
many thousands of dollars have you invested?
I've spent $80.
No, it's
only
it's,
80.
It's
not that
funny
bad.
too.
So you're
because
poor in the game.
him,
Yeah.
Josh trying to play it would get, I think, 20 to 30 frames.
No,
Yeah, that was-
I can get 30 to 40,
Okay, 30 to 40 frames trying to play that.
which is
Isn't-
good.
And I know so from the little I watched and read about it and talked with Josh, it's like a No Man's Sky ish or a GTA. It's like a GTA in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kinda.
Because it's like you move
Ish.
cargo and you move things and you can steal stuff. Like you can be a space pirate.
Yeah.
You can. So yeah,
God, that
it's-
sounds so cool.
I'm 100%
there's just
gonna
like a
be
ton of
space
different
pirate.
There it is.
jobs and-
GTA 6 is in space. GTA 6
Oh.
is Star Citizen.
Fuck.
Dude, I think you're right.
What's the
It's on
over
the
under
moon.
on? What's the
I
over
mean,
under on
watch, you're
GTA
gonna have
6?
hoverboards. It's gonna be Skate 4 as well.
Oh
in
shit.
space.
The over under in GTA 6.
Over under on GTA 6. Let's say 2025.
Ooh. Ooh.
Uh,
you
Well,
gotta-
I'd say,
I'd give it-
I don't know. Over.
I'm hammering the over on that.
2025, yeah, I'd hammer the over. Cause and I was gonna bring this up too. Is when GTA 5 or 6 releases. I mean, cause what? It's been 9 years and there's still pretty much not been a lack of content
Yeah.
in GTA 5. When GTA 6, there's gonna be 20 years worth of content. I
Yeah.
feel like
All
it's
right,
going to
hot
be
take.
insane.
I'm gonna say under. I think it's gonna be holiday 2024.
I don't
2024,
disagree.
wow.
So the way that I'm looking at this is it's not they just like now officially said, hey, it's in production, but I'm pretty sure it's been in production in some aspect.
Oh, yeah.
For a few.
No, yeah.
I mean-
in the announcement they said, I think like
They
quote,
started
they
production
said
in
well
2020.
underway.
Yeah.
I think they
I
said it
think
was
they said-
started in 2020.
So
Oh,
I would
okay.
say it might honestly. Let me look this up real quick.
I guarantee you it's definitely pre-pandemic. Like, I bet as soon as they were done with Red Dead in 2018, they were full throttle on GTA 6. So I bet,
At
and
least
like if you look at
storyboarding
it,
and stuff.
like I think you kind of get intervals about 5-ish years when it comes to GTA, or like in terms of Rockstar, and maybe even less than that. And you know, cycles increase as the years go by and games get more complex. But I mean, you had GTA 4 in 2008, you had Red Dead 1 in 2010, GTA in 2013, and then Red Dead 2 in 2018. So, you know, 2023 is when you kind of hit that 5-year mark post Red Dead 2. So you add a little bit of buffer, and I think 2024 makes for a good year for GTA 6 to come out.
I honestly, I'm trying to look this up. Super hot take would be that it releases on the 10-year anniversary of GTA 5, but that is in a year, in almost 2 years, almost 2 years if you look at it the right way. A year.
What'd you
and
guess, Josh?
10 months.
I don't. I think
Huh?
you said 20. Did you say 2023? Because Walker's
I
hot taking
said
it.
over, but I think.
Oh, you think over? Okay.
Yeah, but I think it would be 2027.
I'm trying to find when it released on PC.
I'm going holiday of 2025.
March 24th. What year was
All right,
it? though?
this is all archived now. We
I'm
will
just
see who's the big winner and
Trying
loser
to
of this
figure
one.
out. Yeah, so I wouldn't say 2023 on like the 10-year anniversary. I would say 10-year anniversary of when it released on PC, which I can't find a day that it did. But I
For
would
GTA
say
5,
for
I think it was
GTA
September.
5.
I think
Well,
it was September.
released September 17th, 2013. I'm trying to find a year. I don't know what year it released on PC.
It was 2013.
On PC.
Oh, PC.
On PC, yeah. No
Oh,
PC.
PC.
I'd
I think
say
it was
15.
2015. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think it was
I
2015.
would go 10-year anniversary of its release on PC.
Ah, okay.
That's
so you're
what I'll
thinking
say. So I'd say
2025-ish.
2025.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the lone boy at 2027.
That is a
that's
long
a long time.
I'm gonna
I
be an old
think-
man by then.
No, I think it's gonna be. I think they're gonna try to spend a lot of time on it, but I don't know. I guess thinking about it now, if they already announced it, people are going to be talking about it now. They probably wouldn't make them wait 5 years, but
I think Carly actually wanted me to bring this up on the podcast, so she'll be happy and maybe actually listen this week. Another game that's kind of been delayed recently, but should be coming out in the near future is Breath of the Wild 2. What's everyone's hot take on that? Let's say over under spring 2023.
Have they announced that they're going to do the second one?
Oh yeah, they have
Okay.
they have gameplay on in a like quick teaser trailer.
They just released Pokemon, so they'll release it they'll either release it end of this year, so like this, the last 3 months this year, or next year, early next year.
I'm gonna go summer of next year. If that's what we're just guessing.
Yeah, I
release
think
date.
I'd go with Carson.
I'd say it's a summertime release game.
Didn't they release like another game though for that,
Yeah,
or was
I
that an
thought so.
expansion, or was
I
that
thought I
just-
saw something additional to it.
Yeah, Cringe. You would know. What's that?
I would.
The,
So you're either thinking you're probably thinking of Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the expansion that kind of plays into a little bit of like the story of like some of like the prequel story of Breath of the Wild. And then they did have DLC. I think that was late 2017, early 2018, something like that. So I think Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and that came out that's actually more recent than I thought, November of 2020. But its own standalone game, kind of like a Tekken beat 'em up kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had seen that game. I just had no idea what it was. I didn't.
Or not Tekken. What am I thinking of? Ninja Gaiden. Tekken's like legit 1v1 fighting.
See. All right.
Alright.
I
That
think
was
we
That was good. Do we do a quick media consumption?
I think we do a quick weekly recap. Let's run through this. Now Josh has got to get going here, and I've got dinner ready. So we'll hit the weekly recap or the media consumption and go there. So let's go ahead and let's start it off with Josh again.
This week, let's see. What did I?
Shorter week this week.
Pretty much just play
week.
COD. That's Yeah, all I did was play COD in my free time.
Play Halo with us.
But the thing is, like, I started playing S&D, and everyone's so toxic, and it's so fun.
Yeah, you need to get that
It's just
battle
like
pass
classic
up, bro.
COD. Oh, I'm not spending any more money on COD. But...
You know what?
Halo.
You know what Halo, or you know what COD needs
Halo.
is a little
Oh, yeah,
bit of
I bought-
Halo.
yeah.
Like, I hate getting RPG'd in those freaking games. Like, that's
But
what
you get
COD
RPG'd
becomes.
in Halo.
Yeah,
not
but
as
at least with
often,
Halo, it's random.
Also, you
like
don't
know,
die.
like I feel like you can have the RPG and all the stupid tank stuff in COD, but like make a Fiesta mode where like it's just there's no holding back. You can just put on whatever you want. You can do your noob tubes. You can do your dumb C4s.
Yeah,
That's great.
But don't you
But have a
remember my
tactical game mode.
don't you remember my jab technique?
Oh,
I
God.
don't
That-
do remember your jab
so
technique.
Good,
Oh,
so
God.
good.
All
No one
right.
can
Well,
stop it.
well, that was Josh's media consumption. Walker, what have you been
Just
doing the
COD.
last week?
Oh, Halo, Rocket League, PUBG. I'll go off PUBG. So PUBG, it's a lot less bots. I played duos last night with Tyler, and then we went into squads. There's a lot less bots.
Yeah, that's how it was when
Like
I played.
it's actually like genuinely like original PUBG again.
I think we also need to have Walker a weekly update of his sleeping schedule. Just let us know
No.
how the sleeping schedule goes every week.
No, I'm alright.
We're not for that? All right. Well,
No.
all right, Chris, if you want to go ahead and jump into your media.
I played a great few rounds of Rocket League with Walker earlier this week. I realized I don't suck as much as I thought I did. I was actually able to hold up with the gang beasts that Walker was bringing in terms of the diamond ranking, so that felt great. Not a whole lot of gaming though. A little bit of Halo Ultimate Challenge grinding, but I was working on our soon-to-be upcoming video quite a bit with a shit ton of Rust videos from Wellen. Oh my god, does he make you want to play Rust so bad?
Dude, his Rust videos are amazing. They're so good.
I don't even want to.
Have you seen Frost? You know who Frost is?
No, Josh, don't do this to me. You're the one who introduced me to Wellen, and now I'm addicted to him. I can't be addicted to two YouTubers at once.
I'll send you more.
Also, real quick, on the topic of Rocket League, Boston Scott, a running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, has signed with Ignitas on the Rocket League team. He's a sub, but he is the first player. He's the first, I guess we'll call it traditional sports and esports player to be on a roster professionally. He hasn't played yet, and he's a sub, so he's on a roster, but he hasn't obviously played. But so he's the first one to kind of do both.
Isn't he really good too?
Yeah, 0.52%.
Oh man,
top 0.52.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's more crossover like that in the future. Like, Josh, I did watch the Wellen video with Myles Garrett in it.
That was so good.
That's a good one.
I was like, hold up.
It definitely will do that. Hold on, Carson.
Speaking of pro athletes in video gaming, I think we're about 2 weeks off the timeline of this, but in the Bills, what was that? AFC semifinals game, maybe divisional round. Yeah, so the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The what's his name? The wide receiver that scored 4 touchdowns in that game. What's his name? Does anyone know his name? I forget his name.
No,
just a really bad
receiver.
take.
He's not unknown, but he's not their top.
Yeah, no, he's not Stephon Diggs. But his name is Gabriel Davis. So he was wearing custom Escape from Tarkov cleats in that game where he caught 4 touchdown passes and over 200 yards receiving. So
did he get fined for that?
No, they changed the rule, I think.
Oh,
or maybe it was a pregame thing.
It might have been pregame because they let you wear. I don't think you can wear those in.
Yeah, I don't think you can wear them in the game. But anyways, that was interesting. So we'll follow that up with my media for this week, which was pretty short. Didn't do a whole lot. I had a lot of lacrosse and school going on this week. And some free time that I had. I did play a little bit of Tarkov. Had some fun with that. Yeah, I had a little bit of fun doing some quests. Just killing people, really.
Wait, are you low level and stuff in that?
Yeah, I'm still pretty low. Is
this time for me to like finally just like glom onto you and you take me to the top?
If you would like to, I'm at a point where you can still do some of the quests and it would line up. Walker did just post a picture of the cleats in chat.
He wore them in game. They were
in game. Yeah.
Oh, let me see this.
So,
these bad boys.
And then in the other free time I had, I played a lot of Gran Turismo Sport on the racing sim. And that is a lot of fun. I started doing online races last week, and it's.
Get your rating up?
I did. I'm a C rating now. I'm a C driver rating.
I was S, so.
Yeah. Okay. So I was a C rating. I'm a C driver. I'm a C driver and S for safety. So, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's frustrating, but it's also really enjoyable. But that was basically
Lando Norris in no time.
Yeah, that's the goal.
A Z rating.
The F1 teams, just because you mentioned Lando Norris, F1 teams are slowly unveiling their 2022 cars as we enter a new era of F1, and I think that'll be something interesting to take a look at. Haas was the first team to unveil their new car, which was today. I think it looks very lame. I think it looks like the 2021 livery on the new car. We're in a new era of F1 with the new cars and the new regulations. So I think they suck. and I'm pissed at Haas. And this is part of my media consumption because I checked it on Twitter. So I'm
so you know
I'm pissed.
my
I'm
whole
pissed at
thing
Haas.
is I don't watch anything F1 because I love watching Formula One Drive.
You need to watch it live.
Is this the
It's
car?
still-
Anyway,
Yes,
I
that
would
car.
like to know. I would like to know these new rules and regulations, the new era, if you will.
Yeah, so I'll run through it because I know we're here at the end. Josh has to get going, but
No, he doesn't. He's
it's
lame.
just a new set of rules for the way the car is set up. The car is more stock in hopes to make the racing more competitive and more driver focused. I've actually watched a little bit of IndyCar as well lately. IndyCar is very competitive across the field. You know, it's not just the top 2 drivers that are competing for the championship like it is usually in F1. So they're hoping to make the field more competitive, have the teams that can spend a lot more money than the teams that can't spend as much money. They're trying to balance that out by putting a cap on R&D costs, so you can only spend so much money now. The tires are bigger. The design of the chassis of the car is pretty much stock. So most of the teams now, they used to design their own chassis. The chassis is pretty much a stock chassis across all the teams that they can modify in different ways, but it is pretty much the same chassis. So they tried to make things a little more uniform and then limit the things that you can develop. So it works both ways because now Mercedes can't spend as much as they have in the past, which was literally like $400 million more than the team in last place. The team in last place spent like $100 million, and they were spending like $500 million. So they're limiting what they can spend, but at the same time, they're also limiting the amount of tweaking that they can do, tuning that they can do to the cars. So they have less to spend, but they also have less to spend on. So I don't know. I think we're going to have like a 2-year gap before it gets competitive. I think this season is still going to be dominated by, 2, maybe 3 top teams. And then I think moving past that, maybe next year, it'll be more competitive throughout the field. But that's my quick F1 recap. Still pissed at Haas. They dropped the ball. We're in an entire new era of F1 racing. I think the car itself looks okay.
I gotta look at it now.
Objectively speaking, the car itself looks all right. But when you look at the last year's car, the 2020 car, 21 car, it looks exactly the same, just on the new chassis. And it pisses me off that they couldn't do something more unique for starting a new era of F1. So that's
they
my
also
rant.
saved,
I see what
yeah.
you're saying. That
they
first
also
one's-
saved their tokens to use for this year.
Yes,
They
yes. So
didn't-
last year they didn't develop the car at all. The 2021 car was the exact same as the 2020 car. They literally the exact same. So it was 0. They had no competition last year. They didn't do any. They did terribly last year because they didn't R&D their car. They saved all their tokens and their R&D costs for their 2022 car. So hopefully they're more competitive as an actual driver. I'm still just pissed about how similar the car looks, considering they are the only American-owned team in F1. So I want to root for them. But now I'm just pissed that their
Who they
car looks
got?
the same.
Latifi.
Mazepin and Mick Schumacher.
Oh no, Latifi races for Williams, right?
Yeah. So that's our F1 recap. That's
for,
our media consumption.
For the sake of ending this video at a decent time, I'm gonna act like I knew everything you were talking about there.
Yeah, we
Fucking
can talk about
R&D
that
and
later.
Tokens, yeah, we're gonna have a nice overview of that, so I understand most of this terminology for the next week's podcast. We did it, gang. We did another podcast. How do you all feel?
Over.
Wonderful. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
We're ending it now. Thanks for listening.
Mwah.
We'll check you
Bye.
guys next week.